Today, I want to talk about the wonderful sensation of it doesn't make any difference to me. And if you can embody that wonderful, wonderful centrality, you will find a oceanic freedom. So today, I'd like to talk about the state of it makes no difference to me. Stick around. You may have to experience a lot of contrast before you realize the ultimate state of freedom, which is it really doesn't make a difference. And all of this challenge that you thought you had was merely a challenge to enjoy yourself. You see, this is the great secret. Somebody hands you the keys to their guest house on the beach, and they say, go enjoy yourself. As if that allows you to enjoy yourself. They hand you the keys to their Ferrari and say, go enjoy yourself. Ah, that's what it takes to enjoy myself. But you have to live a while before you realize that your sense of anxiety is going to come with you. Your sense of dis-ease and unease accompanies you, even if you get the keys to the good car. Because if you can't have a good time doing nothing, what makes you think arranging the condition on the outside will make a difference? And this is the illusion that many of us suffer from. We work very, very hard to make sure the outside condition is to our liking. And just as we get it thus and so, we're uncomfortable again. So I think the great challenge of being in this physical world, which seems to be shifting and moving and fluctuating, is that consistency and comfort remain in the nucleus of the person. That you grow this spaciousness, which knows how to enjoy itself with nothing at all. See, we take the words enjoy yourself, and we take that yourself, and we equate it with enjoy the Ferrari, enjoy the beach house. But if you can't enjoy your own place, what makes you think you're going to enjoy another place, even if it has a hot tub? So, we have to understand what it means and why it's so challenging just to enjoy yourself. And how many of us can honestly do that in an empty room? What if I put you in an empty room with no clothes on, no windows, and just a nice soft chair. You had no idea how long you were going to be in there. Could you enjoy yourself? It makes no difference to me. No, that's not to say I don't prefer to be in my own home. That's fine. But if I found myself somewhere where I had to surrender, a prison cell or a whatever, the challenge becomes, can I let this be and make myself comfortable? You've heard that before. Welcome to my house. Make yourself comfortable. There's another one. We think making ourselves comfortable would be to surround ourselves with luxurious objects. And that doesn't seem to work either. Because you can be in the most comfortable chair, in the most serene surrounding, and still feel like you are tied up in knots. So it is a challenge to make ourselves comfortable and to enjoy ourselves. And so we have to relearn that. We have to relearn what that means. And we must start taking things away from ourselves and realize the very things that seem to be making us comfortable, like drinking, for example. Drinking seems to make you comfortable. It seems to make you unwind, doesn't it? You can feel it when you take that first sip of bourbon or a gin and tonic or something. You can feel it kind of calms you down, but then eventually the anxiety returns. You sober up. And so it's an endless cycle that the very thing that you think comforts you is making you more anxious. Isn't that interesting? That as you meddle in your financial circumstances, trying to find the right mate, trying to find the right job, trying to find the right house, trying to find the right car, so you can finally enjoy yourself, you can finally make yourself comfortable, you realize that everything that you're trying to arrange on the outside is nothing but an exercise in futility. Because all of that so-called rearrangement is the very cause of anxiety. You see? So there's a lot of removal in enjoying yourself. There's a lot of reduction in making yourself comfortable. There's a lot of letting go of illusions that the outside is where you find comfort, security, and safety. And you would also have to learn how to get comfortable with silence. A lot of my videos have silence in them. And I enjoy that. Because in the silence, we find what to say. Our words tend to have more gravity when preceded by a great deal of silence and space. And it's in that space that we learn space is full. Absence is full. Even the darkness is full. So there's really no emptiness. There's really no separation. And there's really no rearrangement of the outside. Nor is there a rearrangement of the inside. Inside and outside are the same. And so that's how everything is. It makes no difference. Once you figure out that there's no inside and outside, there's no difference that makes a difference to you as a full, whole creature. There's no negative circumstance or positive circumstance, or there's no mess, there's no order. Mess and order live comfortably together. In the same way, dark and light live comfortably together. Part of this is giving up the sense that you have some kind of control. Because when it comes right down to it, you really don't know the difference between a voluntary act and an involuntary act. It makes no difference, remember? And that consciousness seems to be able to be focused in and to be dilated to a sense of an oceanic proportion. Alan Watts calls that the spotlight and the floodlight. And when you dilate your consciousness and allow it to open, you can sense that you expand to the ends of the cosmos. And there's really no individual in the body. I mean, you can be driving down the road with a friend, carrying on a conversation. So it's almost as if the body is driving. You don't really need to pay attention to the driving. There's an automatic sort of thing going on, and you are more focused on the conversation. And the lesser of you, the background of you, is driving the car. So in that sense, your spotlight is on the conversation and your floodlight is driving. And I like the way Alan Watts describes that duality. But you're driving the car and you are talking to your friend, but where is your attention directed? And when you're dilated, attention is sort of in the background. That's also you. So it really makes no difference if you did something accidentally or you did something intentionally. When you realize there's no individual inhabiting the body. You see, we are under this impression that our environments are hostile and not really who we are. That who we are basically stops where the skin stops. But if you are an expanded consciousness, one who has awakened to the inner oceanic consciousness that has expanded to the ends of the galaxies, you will have discovered there is no central figure being affected by an environment that's stupid, hostile, and foreign. You'd call that state of consciousness alienation. And human beings are creatures that do not feel comfortable in their environment. So they seek to rearrange it to feel comfortable, and they get more uncomfortable. That is until you realize the environment is you, and creature or environment are perfectly nestled. And that essentially there is no central, autonomous, separate being moving the body in a separately moving environment that has nothing to do with the creature. You see? So, part of our amazing ability is to recognize that it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference if you think you have some kind of control. It doesn't make a difference if you think you don't have control. You realize you realize spiritual awakening is simply just an awakening to differences of any kind ceasing. And that the individual components are not powered and intelligent separately from power and intelligence on the whole. That would be like saying, where does the head end, where's the neck begin? The neck and the head morph into one. And it's hard to tell where the finger ends and the hand begins. And it's hard to tell whether or not one act is voluntary and the other is involuntary. And what about these processes where you can intervene, like breathing? Sometimes breathing is involuntary. Sometimes it's voluntary. Where is the dividing line? When do you get into it? When do you become a deliberate breather? So, there are no differences. What good does that do? What good does it know that it makes no difference to you? Well, it keeps you from overreacting. It keeps you from being all uneasy in your own environment. In all conditions, you can find equanimity. The Buddha was talking about this wonderful, central, neutral, but joyful place of equanimity. Disappearing into the very center, squarely foundational in the present moment. You're not trying to recreate your environment by thinking about it. And if anybody has ever told you that a thought creates reality, has it wrong. Reality is uncreated. Thoughts occur in reality, perhaps. Thoughts are begotten of reality, perhaps. But reality is unchangeable. Fixed. And it works just fine on its own. And somehow bearing a neutral witness to it helps you become a difference maker. Ironically, if it doesn't make any difference to you, you get to become a difference maker. I think it's wonderful because it's a great paradox that reverses itself. When the creature and the environment are one, it sort of seems to resonate. And there's a partnership that emerges. A unity and a partnership that emerges through a resonance. That I am my environment. I am everything. Self and other are one. So it makes no difference to me. And when that happens, I enjoy myself thoroughly. Because there's no more competition. It is simply just an expression of truth. So, if we could all learn that it doesn't make a difference, and that we can make ourselves comfortable, not in a forceful way, but in an allowing way, there's so much that would emerge in our consciousness by way of creative expression, all on its own. And we'd still be amazed and dazzled that we can do things. But it would simply just bubble up like love. Effortlessly. Because that's essentially who we are. That oneness that it makes no difference to. Hope you enjoyed these insights today, friends. And please check out my blog, mymorningmotivator.com, or my latest book, Get Naked, Look at the Sky, and Dance. See you next time.